Hello. Uh, you know, a lot of us get our news, or what we think is news, from YouTube and X and Facebook and all the other ones. And you have to take that stuff with a grain of salt. Um, they're pushing, they're trying to get likes, they're trying to bait you, they're trying to get you to subscribe. And, that's their goal because they get paid on those likes and subscribes. And, what better motivator than money? To lie to you and to manipulate the truth, and they don't, they're like Tucker. He lied all the time, um, just to get ratings, and that's what they do on the internet. And Tucker didn't learn anything new or didn't teach anything new. He was just doing what everybody else was doing and is doing, and that's why we have our MAGA movement because they've been lied to in a lot of ways, and some of what they believed is actually true. Uh, but it's so mixed up. It's like a Pollock, if you know what a Pollock picture looks like. It's just a mirage of different colors mixed in, and you know it's hard to go into that Pollock picture and just pick out the blue spots or the red spots, because it's all mixed up. And that's what they do with the news on the internet and the truth. And they mix it up so you say, yeah, that's true. But then you make the mistake of saying everything else they said was true. And it wasn't, you know. And the more they say, like Truth Social, which is complete lies and complete brainwashing and manipulation, it's the farthest thing from the truth. And that's why the title is Truth Social, because they want to bring in the idiots that will believe it's the truth. And what better way but than to say Truth Social? Like Real Time with Bill Maher. Real Time with Bill Maher. It's not real. I mean, some of the stories they talk about are real. Some of the facts they discuss are real. But it's the manipulation. It's They put on there what they want to put on there. They talk about what's popular. They talk about what, again, gets ratings. And with that, you can't trust. You just can't trust. You know, and it's so hard. And we want to trust. As human beings, we're geared to trust. You trust your wife, you trust your kids, you trust your boss, you trust the police officer, you trust your lawyer, you trust your accountant. Oh my God. You trust your banker. You trust the guy who makes your sandwich in the morning and your coffee. I mean, trust is a fabric of our society. And it's being attacked. It's being bombarded by all different avenues where we can't trust. Now we can't trust Gatorade because of the dye that's in it. It's just a carcinogen. Um, our coffee is no good. Decaf is the worst thing you can drink. It causes cancer. But we believe it's good because it has no caffeine. But the chemical that takes the caffeine out of coffee is what causes cancer. And they can't take that chemical out once they put it in. So you have that. And I say that a lot. You have that because you do. And it's a fact. I mean, again, it's a perceived fact. Will there be a study in 10 years saying it doesn't cause cancer? I doubt it. Because once it causes cancer, and once they prove it causes cancer, it's pretty hard to unprove it. Uh, but a lot of things they say today that don't cause cancer, I would say in some time they will figure out that it does. And a lot of things cause cancer. I mean, the list, I don't have enough time to list them all. And you wouldn't know what half of them are. Neither would I. But, you know, it's just the money in this country, the money in this world. The money is the root of all evil. And like they always say, it's not the love of money, it's your attitude towards money. A lot of people love money. They're not evil. It's their attitude. They want to use it as a weapon or they want to use it as a tool. That depends on you. You know, uh, what kind of boss are you at work? What kind of company do you run? What kind of government do you run? Do you control every aspect of a person's life that works for you? Um, do you think giving them a monthly or a weekly or a yearly salary allows you to do that? I don't think so. You know, you make them choose between you, the boss, or their family, or their own integrity. And I don't think money allows you that. And some people, you know, if they do believe it, then they go to work instead of taking care of their pregnant wife. You know, and they're told if they don't go to work, the pregnant wife will be homeless. You know, so, yeah. And the problem is too, the people that are at the top and engineering the systems and the things that we use in our lives, they have no life. Their life is a computer screen. Their life is a bank account. You know, if the number in the bank account isn't the right number, they're not happy. You know, and you really don't want these people. I mean, look at Trump. All he cares about is money. Money, 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 money. You know, and he wrote the art of the deal. And he's the worst negotiator on the planet. You know, agree or we blow you up. That's not negotiations. That's blackmail. So, you know, it's just, you're not talking about good people. You're talking about sick people. We're not saying they're evil people. They're not. They're sick. I mean, Trump is a narcissist. And Zuckerberg is a narcissist. And Bill Gates is a narcissist. You know? And, you know, Bill Gates is accused of putting forward his money and his efforts to lowering the population and killing people through COVID and stuff like that. The vaccines and all that he's done. And I wouldn't disagree with that, you know, because somebody like that doesn't think about the baby that he ended. They don't think they think in the numbers. Oh, how many babies did I end? You know, and it's not the one little baby that no longer here. You know, so on a human scale, they're not human. You know, it's all numbers. It's all percentages and um, you know, and it takes the numbers take I'm an accountant, so I know the numbers, and the numbers take the human out of it. You know, it's just like when your boss says, "Oh, the bottom line is not good this month. You're going to have to work harder, or you're not going to come back." You know, and it doesn't matter about other things. It's just the bottom line. The stock went down, so we have a problem. You know, we have to do something to bring it up again. You know, and all stocks go up and down. And you can't run your company on what the stock price is. And a lot of people, including Hugh Hefner, who complained when he went public with Playboy, uh, it didn't really benefit him. You know, because he was already rich. Didn't matter to be a little bit more richer. And now he had all these stockholders trying to manipulate Playboy, and which now Playboy what? Has no more naked girls, and so the stockholders said no more naked girls, so that was the end of that. And it's just, and the whole magazine was built on the centerfold. Everybody bought the new edition because they wanted to see the centerfold, but now they took that out. I don't know. I never read a Playbook after that, so I don't. A Playboy. I don't know. I don't know what it looks like. I don't care. And I really wasn't into Playboy when it was popular. But my grandfather was. I mean, that was my grandfather's thing. He had stacks and stacks of Playboy, and as a young child, I went through them. you know, but it's all market manipulation. It's all getting the dollar out of your pocket. That's all it's about. There's real concerns about, I'm on an iPad right now, and I have an iPhone, and I have an iWatch, and I have these earbuds or Apple, and there's real concerns about what 5G is doing to us. And, I discussed this in the past, but our eyes, our ears, our nose, our taste are limited, very limited. That's why we use a dog to find missing people, because they can smell things that we can't smell. We have a dog in the house to know if there's somebody in the yard, because they can hear things that we can't hear. A snake can see things in the dark that we can't see, because they have heat sensor, infrared. A bat can do things without eyesight that we could never do, and land on a mosquito mid-flight and have lunch, and we would be bitten by a mosquito and not even know it was there. So we're limited. And 5G is just, it's like a ray of colors that these machines can read, and we can't. And that's why you can sit in a room like I'm sitting in now, and it's not loaded with an ultraviolet or an infrared red, like a red light in the room, because 5G is in the room. It's invisible. It's invisible to us. It's below our level of threshold. And I believe aliens live in that threshold. If you want to be invisible, you have to live within that threshold. And I believe aliens have that capability. And I believe 5G is within that capability. It's like CO2, carbon monoxide. I have a carbon monoxide detector right there. Now, that could be... Of course, I get a phone call in the middle of this. I'll get back to you. Watch the next video.